Thank you. Thank you very much.
Have a memorandum of understanding between the government of Kenya and Netflix. Moving on to our partners this morning, Netflix, and since you're one of our own, on behalf of Kenya.
Thank you, Gloria.
Thanks and Ketuba for making this happen. I think there is innovation and youth affairs to address us, and thereafter.
We have amazing storytellers, and I have always said that the world just needs to see. And I think Netflix is providing that platform, but not only that, giving opportunities to creatives. We are amazing storytellers in Kenya, and I think we are starting to see it. Look at Volin, who was one of the winners in the UNESCO competition where there were over 2,000 applicants. And now she gets some money to do a film that she's wanted to do, which is exciting. So hopefully we can see more and more of that. And I think this money that we are signing, this MOU that we are signing, this money that we hope we will bring here will just honestly propel the creative industry forward. I know that for a fact because I have been a part of that industry when we didn't have, but now we have. And not only do we have this money, but we have the support. And that's why I was thanking you, because it's one thing to have the money, but if you don't have the support, and I know you're very passionate and you have told me personally and also in public that this is something that's very keen and very important for you. So I want to thank you for that.
I glow with pride when Kenya does things like this that sets a standard and a precedent for other countries to follow. This is a first of its kind. It's called an MOU, a Memorandum of Understanding. It's such a dry term. It tells you, okay, there's $2 million plus that Netflix will invest over a period in areas covering content investments, which my creative storyteller colleague will manage. It involves capacity building and training. It involves consumer protection and partnering to make sure that the online space stays safe for our children and young persons. It involves working with institutions like KFC, KRA, Treasury, to make sure that Kenya can set up an attractive film incentive framework that makes it an attractive production destination for internationals like Netflix and others. What it doesn't tell you, what you can't see off of that dry term MOU, is the jobs. It's the livelihoods. It's the skills building. It's the life-changing moments. I'd say maybe half of our work under this MOU will focus on working with Kenyan storytellers and creators to enable them to tell the Kenyan story to a global audience. It's gone beyond the 50-odd million people in this country. There's billions of people, arguably, at least 220 million on Netflix alone, that are watching to see what stories are coming out of Kenya. And this is why, beyond investing in the co-productions or the licenses and the end product, we want to invest in the pipeline. And so we're very thankful that through Mr. Timothy Owase, Kenya Film School, ADMI, thanks to the partnership of HIVA, the institutions across Kenya that will be working with us to make sure that the next generation, or the present generation of storytellers, are able to get a step up in the storytelling game. And so we put a lot of thought into the areas we're focusing on under this MOU to make sure that we're meaningfully contributing. And our partners on this journey are left in a better place than maybe where we started out from.
When we look at the MOU that is to be signed, there are various aspects that are so critical that we at Kenya Film Commission are so happy about. There are elements of scholarships that Netflix is to provide, skills development, supporting students to acquire skills both locally and internationally. There is a component that is so critical as well. On-set training. This is an avenue that Netflix is going to provide us in a manner that Kenyan creatives will find an opportunity to actually practice their art by interacting with the best globally in various locations across the globe. Shadowing is another component that is captured in this particular MOU, which is so critical in championing the capacity of skills in our country. This will enable Kenya to compete globally with the other nations, as well as allow me to mention that in the MOU there is a component of Netflix agreeing to support us on the development of a framework through design and operationalization of the film incentives. This is going to put Kenya on the map and to be able to compete with other nations as far as the competitiveness of the screen sector is concerned.
Kenya Film School is indeed the only talent film training institution in this country. And the reason why it exists is to give everybody a fair chance in life, especially those from disadvantaged backgrounds. We have in our school some students who are from the neediest of neediest. And the ministry and the government has said, we are going to remove all manner of barriers for them to be able to achieve an education. And I was engaging Mr. Gashara of Hiva Fund this morning because one of our students from Turkana County went to see his grandmother and was not in time to fill the application for Hiva Fund. And the question of this, how do you ensure you remove barriers for these people from those kind of backgrounds? That's exactly the reason why I'm very thrilled, Waziri. This is why I'm thrilled, Netflix, for this MOU signing, because we'll be removing barriers for so many people. And ultimately, when you give the neediest a chance, we are not only generating wealth, but also creating employment. When we watch Serena, when we watch Kina, when we watch Salem, and so many other productions like Kovu, you see students from Kenya Film School. And they come for 9 months. And at the end of 9 months, they are ready to go. And this kind of MOU, which will enable some of them to brush worries about school fees from their minds, will enable and impact not only the students, but also communities who cannot see immediately.
Bwana Waziri, we've noted that this is a firm that's very keen to observe our laws. In fact, they've agreed within a very short period of time to apply our local classification system on all the content that is exhibited within the country by Netflix, which is a very good thing. We've worked with them also before, and we continue to discuss with them on issues of having town halls with them in order to sensitize their consumers on how to make the best use of their platform. So we are very happy about what is happening here, and we look forward. I know we have discussions later in the day with Netflix to discuss issues that relate to the core regulation framework. As you're aware, Waziri, the OTTs and VODs are taking actually much of the market that was traditionally occupied by the legacy media. And in the interest of protecting children and vulnerable groups, we are moving to that space in terms of ensuring that the exhibitors of audiovisual content in these new platforms really comply with our laws. And of course, the consultation has been going on. It has closed. And very soon, actually, we are compiling the inputs that we've received from the market. And we shall be coming back we'll be coming back to industry to brief you on what has been the outcome of that consultation in readiness for implementing the framework.
As we've moved on with these new OTT platforms like Netflix, where now even short stories, and you go watch them at your own time, not at 9 o'clock, and it's not news, and you can do all these different things. I think education is going to become and is becoming a lot easier. We can tell people stories about what's happening in any part of the country or the world and really engage and connect. We saw, like even the war in Ukraine, people were telling their stories, their experience of how they left or those that are still there and what it means for them. So for Kenya, I think we are proud. And I'm proud of all of you for coming together, including the HIVA and the funds and management of all the resources, to ensure that Kenya is not being left behind. The continent is not being left behind. We want to make sure now with the Africa Free Trade Area, we should be number 3 or number 2 in the world. We compete with the others as we open the market. Because again, creating the single digital market is one of the ambitions our heads of state have had, so that our people have a huge market and opportunity. How they take advantage of that is really going to be based on how we inform and educate them. You can't always go back to school to understand the benefits of the East African community or the Africa Free Trade area, but you can watch something on Netflix that will tell you, hey, this is what I have done, this is how I'm benefiting. And so even with the Communications Authority, we're looking at now how to roll out 5G and ensure that we have got some of the best speeds. And if that is the case, then people will be downloading a whole movie in a second. The cost will be minimal because we'll find ways. And so the infrastructure is being built, but we are also really, really glad that Netflix is allowing us to also, on the creative sector, be able to move things forward. If I look at the last 1 year or so, some big milestones have been happening. We've been having big negotiations and discussions with ICANN. Many people may not know who ICANN are, but for all domain names and IP addresses, for the internet to function, you need ICANN. The root servers have mostly been in the US, the 13 main servers, and they announced that Kenya is going to be host to one of those root servers, and they're in the process of setting up. So the internet infrastructure is coming here. We recently launched the 6th cable, the Peace cable, which has huge capacity. This is the undersea cable to come and complement the other 5 cables that we have. Microsoft announced their Africa Development Center, hiring over 431 Kenyans, and they're moving up to 600, they say, before the end of the year. Google has announced a production office setup. They've already started hiring 100 people.
Mama wenzangu, so far tumefikisha 350k kwa akaunti yetu ya chama. Tufanye aje na hizi pesa zetu?
Naona tununue vitenge zinafanana. Vitenge. Hapana, tununue sufuria za non-stick.
Sufuria.
Tununueni curtain.
Ai, mama wenzangu, vote tununue kaploti. Kuna watu wanauza plots na nyuki. Na nyuki? Hebu tuwapigie simu watupe uhondo. Hello.
Thank you for calling Optiven. How may we assist you?
Can we get a plot with 350,000 in Nanyuki?
Yes, you can get a plot at the Great Oasis Gardens in Nanyuki today for as low as 349,000 shillings.